Alright, so now we're recording and streaming at the same time. Pog. Anyway, let's just start with this. So, taking a look here, as I was looking towards the end of the week, I was kind of looking on a buy, because if I was to take a look here, I can kind of see that there's this low down here, and I can see that there's another one down here. And what happened here was that when it did reach, we can also see this one here. Also trading on the, just analyzing on the 4 hour. So here I can kind of just see that hit this point, gone up, hit this point, gone up, hit this point, gone up. So kind of what I'm expecting is to see how it reacts to this area up here. If it's able to break above, then possibly we could enter in on a on that buy and take it back towards this upper side of this range. And that's kind of what I'm hoping for on this pair. In terms of analysis, there's nothing really on here that's changed during the last week or so. As we can see, that the key levels that I put in last week are still pretty relevant for this week. So with that said, let's head on to this pair. So taking a look at this pair here, I was kind of interested in a buy towards the upside. From down here, I kind of missed it because it didn't end up dropping after hitting this area. It's really just unfortunate. So really, if I can see this come back down and then it kind of shows like a bit of a dip on here, and then hopefully comes down to the oversold region on around this area here, then hopefully we can kind of enter in on that buy. And also, like, let's just see if we could use a quick little fib. So if it comes down to around here, that'll be a nice little entry point, I believe, to enter in on a buy towards this upside. So with that said, I'm just going to leave this there and head on to the next pair. So taking a look here, I can kind of see that there's a bit of a support level there. So the first thing I'm going to do is just mark that up. Done. And I can kind of see that there's a resistance up here, but that's kind of a key level around here. So if I could just use this rectangle tool, kind of just mark that up like that. I can also kind of see that there's quite a lot of rejection up here, and also if we zoom out, maybe that's like the 0.7 level. Let's just whip out the fib and see what it looks like from here. You can see it's not really showing anything too good. So for me, not really liking anything on this pair. Let's take a look at where I was trading at pre-COVID. We can kind of see that I was trading at these same levels beforehand, and so it's not really at one of these highs or lows, and it could go really either down or up. And if we take a look here, we can see that it's heading down on like the RSI but heading up here. So once again, it's hitting us with that contradicting stuff. Also, if we take a look at the trend, we can see there it's going down and here it's going up. So it's kind of contradicting. And unless it's really obvious, I don't really like to trade like that. So heading on to the next pair, I guess. Let's see what we can find here. Also, I'm actually going to buy TradingView soon. Can you believe it? That's when you know you're bloody rich, is when you can afford to buy TradingView. Damn. But I think it's worth it. I can get those extra notifications, and those notifications will really just allow me to take a step back and I guess give me some more free time and off the charts trading. Oh, there's an ad. Broke. So taking a look here, you can see that it was in this steady like going up, like it was just going up pretty steadily here, but then it's just started crashing down here. So we can also see that it's looking pretty low on this OBV, and if you take a look at the RSI, it's getting pretty low there as well. So based off that, there might be some impulse movement happening shortly. So we'll whip out the fib, kind of see what it's looking like. If you had entered on this level, this previous level here, would have been a nice little entry. Take it up a bit. Maybe if we take a look on the hourly, might be able to find something else. Not really. I think that this here would actually be more of a buy opportunity than it is a sell opportunity. But then I'd really want to see if this RSI here can drop a bit further down and continue that towards the upside. And also if we were to take a look pre-COVID, besides this here, this is like news, I can kind of see us trading towards that upper echelon of COVID. So with that said, I really just don't know where this pair can go. It could either go below down here or here, and I still think that really most of the levels here are pretty relevant still, similar to last week. So we'll head on to this pair. So taking a look here at this pair, I was kind of expecting like a sell opportunity, or I was expecting this pair to drop down to here and then start shooting up. So in my eyes, because this is like a pretty pattern that a lot of people trade. I don't even know what it's called, but I know people trade like a pattern. It looks like this kind of, where it tested a few times, and then on this area here they'd enter in on a sell towards this previous structure, and then that's when they would basically take their money. But I don't really trade patterns, so that didn't really work out for me. But I was actually kind of interested in entering here, but I really just wanted to wait for it to come down towards here and then enter in, so I could possibly take it towards the upside. If we take a look at COVID down here, obviously, if you take a look pre-COVID, it's kind of trading towards the upper echelon over here. But then like, we also take a look here, and this here was like some GBP news or something, I don't know, whatever, I don't know, but it was some news. It maybe not GBP news, but it was some news, okay? So that's why there's that little dip. So maybe if I was to whip out a fib, let's see. There's not really any suitable fibs for me right now, but if I can see that this RSI does come towards this oversold region, I might be inclined to enter in on a buy up here, especially if it's unable to drop below here. Whoops. If it's unable to like drop below these levels here, I'd like to see how it reacts to this one and this one, if it does break this one. But I'm actually pretty biased on a buy here, even though I know a lot of people wouldn't really think that this pair will be going up. So taking a look here, I kind of think that it's going to continue down. Taking a look at this longer fib chart here, you can see it from this high down to this low here. You can see that it's just entered on that 0.61 area on that key level, which is really a picture perfect entry on a sell opportunity on GBP USD. To be honest, I think I just didn't enter in because I didn't have notification on and I wasn't watching this. But as I do aim to get to buy this software, I can get those notifications, kind of be more aware of the charts, and especially as I take this on more as a career and try and get that FTMO funding, I'll be like obviously checking out the charts a lot more, doing a more back testing and that sort of stuff. So like obviously taking a look here, this will be a nice entry towards the downside. So what I think is going to happen is that you can see here break and retest. So on this pair, essentially I believe that you could enter in really right now after seeing that rejection, have a pretty tight stop loss, something like that, and kind of target these lows here for about that 1-to-1 risk to reward ratio. But then also you could target these areas down here and kind of have that bigger stop loss and really just see how this works out for you. For me, I reckon that this here does look pretty nice, but it is coming in towards this oversold area, so if it comes back down, we might see it jump back up. So I'll be a bit patient on this, but if it does end up coming back up and rejecting once again, then I think that's a good sign for an entry, especially on that 1 hour. But actually taking a look at the 1 hour, we can see it's a clear break and retest here. So I do think that this right now is actually a pretty good entry. Now remember to use good risk to reward ratio. Once again, using like just something basic like a position size calculator. If you don't know how to use it, I'll just show you guys right now. So account size, we'll just say 2000 because it's around 2500 or something. Risk to reward ratio, it depends on what you guys are feeling, but generally 1 is the best way to go. The stop loss, let's say, is at 68.7. and this is on GBP USD. So let me just find that. So we can see here that I should be buying around 0.03 lots, right? So that's really just how that works. Really recommend using that. It'll improve your trading. It'll keep you in the game for longer. It may lower your profits, but if you were to like this trade, for example, it's got a 4 to 5 risk to reward. So this trade here would be around 80 bucks. And if you scale in essentially on a break and retest of this level and this level, you could actually get higher than that, $80, and probably get even to like $100 depending on your lot size. But let's say you'd risk 3%, then that you'd be risking $60, and 4 times 6 is around 240. So you can kind of see how the different lot sizes can impact your profits. But at the end of the day, it's the same trade. So it all depends on your trades. If your trades are good and you master your trades, the profits will just come. So this is kind of what I was thinking of this pair. So we'll just head on to the next pair. So this pair here, I kind of missed out on an entry from here to take it towards the upside, and I still think that the levels that I've marked are still pretty relevant. And in terms of a new key level that's kind of formed itself, you could, I know some people here would mark it up like this, something like that there, and see a bit of rejection here and kind of get scared. But let's just see what it's looking like on the 4 hour. So on the 4 hour, it's kind of doing the same thing. I still think that this here is a pretty good entry. Also, if we take a look pre-COVID, you can see down here, and traded pre-COVID, it's kind of trading on that higher echelon of this range. So I think that even for me, I might enter in, especially if it's able to break this resistance point and then come back and test it as that support. I think will be a pretty nice trade, really, to be honest. So taking a look here, we can just see that it's really just continued in its range for this whole week, and there's really nothing to analyze here. So taking a look here, we can kind of see that it's broken above, and now this level has been broken. It's been slashed kind of once here, but it was the first time it really broke above it compared to the previous market structure. But then here in the second time, it's kind of broke it, and again it's kind of showing a bit of signs of rejection, heading down towards that downside. So for me, it's kind of looking pretty nice on the fib. So let's just input it and see if I'm seeing something good. So we can see that this here could actually be a nice trade. It's really a trade that I would like, despite it coming really above this key level. But I guess if you want, you can call this here resistance, then this area support, and then if we were to mark that up, I guess it comes in within that area. So for me, I'd probably be more inclined to sell around on this pair. So that would look something really like this. I wouldn't really target this extreme bottom of the market structure. Instead, let's just check out the daily and see what's kind of reasonable to target. So you can kind of see that maybe down here would be a nice little area to kind of have that take profit, and then really just above that market structure. So let's go back, and this here is something that I'd like to see. So for me to enter in, I like to see a little on the hourly. I like to see this drop, continue to retest, and then if it doesn't break through, that's when I would enter in onto this pair. So let's head on to the next pair and keep analyzing on the 4 hour. So if there's anyone actually in the chat, just say what's going on and stuff like that, and if you have any questions, let me know, like why I do what I do, some benefits that I get from trading Forex, just really any question, or just like about me, how old I am, and all that garbage. But if you just want to know, then ask a question. So we'll just head on to the next pair. So taking a look here at this pair, not quite sure what that circle's on, but for we can kind of see that a nice entry on this 0.6 area would have been nice, although there wasn't really much of a level there, so you can kind of see that it's coming down and it's kind of hitting essentially its take profit, or this pre-bit market structure. So based off that, we can also see that it's kind of hitting this oversold area, and it's kind of hitting it again. Now pre-COVID, it wasn't really trading at this high as well, so essentially it can just continue to drop and drop and drop, right? Because Forex doesn't really care about like the history or anything like that. It's either going to go up or either going to go down. So for this, I'm not really sure, because once again it's kind of got that contradicting thing. But for the levels, I'd say that the levels from last week are still pretty relevant, and if I was to zoom out here, I can kind of see how it's going down, and then I'd have to see how it reacts to this level here. So this here is a level I'll be looking at closely, and I'd like it, well, I wouldn't like it, but I'd just be expecting it to kind of drop, retest, and then start bouncing away from that level, showing signs that it's going to continue down, heading back towards where it used to be, really just around here. So that's what I think for that pair. We'll head on to the next pair. Then after this, I'm just going to go back and kind of look at the pairs that I think are interesting heading into this week, which opens in about 4 hours. So with that said, let's just get into it. Into the next pair. So you can see here we've got about 5 pairs left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then obviously we can just see that we've got like Apple. Let's see, Microsoft is tanked, obviously, because whenever I invest in something, it just tanks. And here, once again, we can just see that this is tanking as well. So, but these here are just my long-term stocks. I don't really invest in that. I mean, I do invest in it, but I don't really trade it. I kind of just keep it there so I can keep an eye on it. But taking a look here at like this Forex pair, we can kind of see that it's at this level. But it's in this extremely, well, not extremely, but it kind of just hit this oversold area. So based off that, and it hasn't really hit this low before, so if we were to move this across similar to that, kind of just drag it down a bit, we can kind of see here it's a support, and then here it was a resistance. So I'd like to see how it reacts to this high up here. But if you want to get in on a quick little trade, I would probably do something like this and enter in. I think that this here would be a pretty good trade to enter in on. Take this towards the upside, kind of have a stop or something like that. Just risk about 20 bucks, or 1% for me, and really just take this trade here towards that upside, you know, see how it goes. But if it doesn't show signs of rejection, which maybe if we go to the hourly, kind of see here showing signs of that rejection, possibly it's able to just shoot up and you know, just hit the take profit, hopefully. So I'm actually liking this one, so I'm kind of going to keep it there because I feel like this one here will be pretty short. So taking a look at Euro GBP, we can see that it's kind of been on this steady decline. Even though I do kind of classify this as a range, you can see that it's recently just broken below this low. So because of that, I'd like to, let's go into the 4 hour so I can see more. So because of that, I kind of like to just see how it retests this structure. But I kind of just think that, like, let's take a look pre-COVID. Pre-COVID was trading down here, but then like if we go back even further, it came up here once. So for me, I'm kind of expecting it to just continue dropping and dropping and dropping, all the way back down, all the way down to around this area once again. But I'd have to wait to see on this break and retest, and then essentially a nice little sell from here to around here to this previous market structure, or really down to here where it's been a support here, and then a bit of resistance there. Or if you want, you can just take it down to there, or really you can just take it all the way down to here. You know, you can make the decision down to here, maybe down to here. Really just depends, right? So taking a look at EuroCAD, you can already see I've done a bit of analysis. You can see that I was kind of expecting this to continue heading downwards, but we can see that it only rejected really at this 0.7 area, and now it's starting to head down. So essentially I'd expect that there must have been a few stops that were there. Banks had just riled the price up, took out heaps of people on the stops, and then now it's starting to head down into that direction. So this is why you need to be extremely patient. But I still kind of think that this is going to head down, but I really wouldn't want to touch this pair. But actually, if you take a look pre-COVID, it was trading way below where it is right now. So it could actually be a nice little trade to enter in on. Especially like, we can kind of see that it's coming towards this oversold region. But since it is coming towards that oversold region, maybe if we just use the fib, for example, from here to here, maybe it'll reject at this like 0.7 or even at this 0.6. When it comes to this oversold, maybe you could target those highs. But for me, I don't really like trading like those contradicting trends unless it's super obvious. Even though it's never really 100%, there's just some setups that are more suited to take, such as like this one here towards the upside. We can kind of see it's contradicting by going down here but then up here, but I kind of thought that from here with this double bottom you can take it up. So, and also pre-COVID we can see it's trading way above where it is. So this here is also like a trade I'd like to take the other week, but keep on going with the analysis, right? Once again, if you're interested in anything about me, what I do, maybe just like some I don't know, just any questions really, like my age, I don't really know what's interesting, if I ever played any sport, where I'm from, something like that. Just shoot a question in the chat and I'll let you know like straight away, bro. So with that said, I'm just gonna keep on going. We can see here I've only really got 2 pairs left before I go back and kind of just see which setups I like the most heading into this week. But then if there is none, then it's pretty unfortunate, isn't it? So taking a look here, you can see that I did have this previous fib, but it did end up dropping below this 0.6 area. Even though an entry on it would have been pretty nice. So I'd like to see how it just reacts to this level. If it's able to just kind of continue up, really not looking for anything on this pair. But if I was to take a look here, I would actually be I think it would be more beneficial to kind of enter in on a sell. Let's just see what the fib looks like. So we can see an entry right on that 0.61, would have been pretty nice. I didn't go in it, unfortunately, but we can see that it's probably going to go and hit that low. And I guess I just missed out on it. But in terms of entering on a new trade, there's not really a setup on this right now, but possibly throughout the week there's probably going to be a setup on this pair. Just making sure my mic's working. Yep, all the audio is fine. Cool, that's cool. Also, if you want to check out my socials, I have Twitter, Instagram, and Discord. And if you just want to shoot me a message, just hit me up on one of those, exclamation mark, like Discord, Twitter, whatever, and check it out. So, with that said, yeah, we'll just keep on going on to the last pair, because I don't really remember if I did do this one. Oh yeah, I did. I just did it just then. So, heading on to the last pair for the week. What I think is that if I take pre-COVID, it's kind of returning towards those pre-COVID levels. So essentially, you can kind of see that it did end up doing what it should have done. Essentially on that setup, once again, a nice little trade like this on the 4 hour would have been nice. Risk about 50 pips on that 1%. Banking around, or if you wanted, you could risk around 2%, and got around $80 on this pair. I mean, yeah, around $80 on this pair, and that would have come from, we can see here that it's kind of in this downtrend, and then we can see with the fib from this high to this low, we can kind of see that there's a key level in between the 0.5 to 0.6, and we can see that if you had entered in and targeted the previous low, that it would have continued going, and then essentially there was a possible scaling opportunity right here to continue entering in for like those 40 pips, right? So that there would have been a beautiful trade. But I really just didn't take it because I haven't really had great success on AUD USD, so I've just been doing a lot of live testing on the markets, because I prefer live testing over back testing because you kind of already know the results, where you just collect data. But I think do live testing, as long as you do it consistently and thoroughly, you're able to kind of get those results, gain confidence, and just continue improving on your trading. Anyway, if you guys don't have any questions for me, or you watch this on YouTube, just what I was gonna say, just don't forget to like or follow the, what about GBP JPY? Oh, did I not do GBP JPY? Oh, I think I did do this, but just for you, champ, I'll do it again. So if I take a look here at this pair here, I can see that if you take a look at the corona levels, is obviously down here. Pre-COVID it was trading up here, but this here was caused off some news, so it's probably not going to come here. So then if we just get rid of this area, we can see once again it's trading towards a higher echelon of this range here. So taking a look here, right, what I'm seeing is that after it hit this this extreme high just in this quick range, I can kind of see that it just continued to come all the way to the bottom of this range, and then it started rejecting at this low here. So I'll put in a fib from this low to this high up here, and kind of just to see where those 0.5 to 0.6 level is. So with that said, taking a look at where that 0.5 is, we can see the 0.5 is here and the 0.6 is here. So a nice little entry, if I had my notifications once again, which hopefully I can get them soon, and also I can just be a bit more active on the charts heading into the kind of more career driven Forex trading, as I'm only really trading a small account that's $2,000, but it is at like $500 profit. And once I get to around $700 profit, I'll be applying for the 100k FTMO trading account, which is a goal of mine, and hopefully I can get there. So a nice trade I think here would really is just if it's able to break above this, because we can see that an entry on this 0.6 would have been really nice, and essentially the best entry. But we can see that if it, let's just see what it would look like. Okay, well, we're not going to use the fib. Okay, the fib is not a good idea. But if you can just see like a clear break and retest of this area up here, so if the market looks something similar to this, and if I just lock it in, whoops, that's the lock, that's the magnet. If it comes up above, kind of comes back down and then starts bouncing away like this, right, then I think that there could be a good sign to enter in once again and to just follow in. Whoops, I forgot that it was locked. Oh my. To enter and see your stop loss just below there, target these highs. But if you did enter in on this 0.6 level here, then essentially that could then just be like a scaling option towards this high, essentially. If I was to just so like two trades like that, I reckon that would have been the play, or that could be the play if you're trading in from here. Take a look at that structure, but once again, you're just gonna have to be patient, right? See how it goes through throughout the week. If this setup happens, that's when you're gonna want to trade it. If it doesn't happen, you're not gonna want to trade it, right? Because at the end of the day, you're gonna have a trillion Forex setups, and there's no point in just forcing a trade, because what I've learned is that when you force a trade, it goes to shit, and it's not really worth it, right? So sorry about the ads, once again, just a broke ass 19-year-old actually. But hey man, hopefully you enjoyed that GBP JPY analysis, and whoops, I hope that's kind of what you expected from me. But if you have any questions, just let me know, and I'll stop recording the YouTube video, and you can ask me just any questions that you have. So